We just moved into a new house, so you know we had to accessorize it. So let's check it out.
Starting off easy, this is my home basement office. It's colder, smaller, and very white. And I picked this clock up a few months ago, and it lives in my kitchen. Retro, loud, but so damn cool. So I figured, let's double it and give it to the next person. Like literally doubling the girth, but for a room half the size. It's the juxtaposition that makes it the perfect fit. This one fully utilizing flappers, and it's even more satisfying when you're the one that gets to control them. I strangely feel like a train conductor or something. And look, I'll be the first to tell you it's $900, but at the size of my upper body with a full blackout panda style finish, you will not find a clock as cool as this. Plus, it's one of those buy it for life type of deals, so if you divide it by how many days you'll own it, it's basically free. Installation was dead simple with the alignment paper provided. Once it all clicks in place, well, bam! Trust me when I say it's loud, especially in a room this tiny. Is it practical? Nope. Could a smaller clock or my iPhone suffice to tell the time? 1000%. But it turns out I have a weird fetish for giant objects that have no right being this large. Plus, it doubles as a shelf too. And honestly, I have no regrets with this one. Another add-on to the home office, a nod to the old school paper lovers, the gravity bar from Biglow Woodcraft. And if you love all things wood, well, it doesn't get any woodier than this. Similar to what restaurants use for their order receipts, installation was simple, and figuring out where I wanted to put it was probably the hardest part. You simply center and level the bar, mark the holes, and poke them in. However, this is one of those moments where we should have read the instructions, but don't push the wood plugs all the way in like I did, because now this is basically never coming off the wall. But you know what? I ain't even mad for how simple and sleek this looks, with the beauty of it being how easy it is to slide in and out. That's what she said. Utilizing metal balls inside, that's also what she said. You're able to simply push and pull without ruining whatever you're trying to display. The two screws hold strong in my scientific tap test without anything sliding out in the process either. Perfect for displaying art, holding receipts I'll definitely forget about otherwise, or the love notes that you write to yourself. And if you're curious, this is the white ash finish, a complete stunner if you ask me. Now this is my girlfriend's office, which has plenty of light, but no real way to control it. These IKEA blinds were meant to be temporary so no one can peep in, but that's all they're really good for. So one of the first upgrades we're doing are blinds. Shout out to Home Depot for having the perfect size for our windows. 2 brackets to screw in, then just slide the whole thing in place. The all white matches perfectly, and now I can be that old grumpy neighbor that's always ready to yell at kids stepping on my lawn. However, there's just one problem. This.
Did it break?
I already get enough forearm training at night, so a huge shout out to SwitchBot for partnering on this upgrade with their blind tilt controller, which honestly is such a specific use case that's only for blinds with this damn magic wand, as it only does one thing: auto magically spin it for you, which I'll be the first to admit is a first world problem, but I freaking love it. The whole setup takes less than 10 minutes as everything just clicks or sticks in place. And while it is battery powered, the solar panel essentially keeps it running, well, forever. Their app offers quite a few options to customize to your needs: NFC, quick actions, and my favorite, pairing it with one of the remotes. So when it's too dark or too bright, well, bam. As for this larger window, we're going to test out the SwitchBot Curtain 3, as we're not sure if we're blinds or curtain type of people. Thankfully, SwitchBot has a solution for both, so we picked up different styles to see if we preferred a full blackout or just a little. And like the tilt, installation was simply clicking it together, snapping the chain for each grommet so it rolls smoothly, and finally adding magnets at the center so the curtain robot butler knows when to chill out. Plus, let's take a second to appreciate the blinds animation within the app. Come on, that's like classic Apple type design if you're old enough to remember that. But voila. The best part for me, if you enjoy feeling up your curtains, turning on touch and go lets you give it a tug and then have the robots do the rest of the work for you. Now, even though it's not terribly annoying to listen to, they do offer a quiet mode as well. Essentially, it moves much slower, but you can barely hear it working. Great to wake up to in the morning, but also if you just don't care if your blinds open in a rush. However, it really shines when you combine it with their smart lock, which we've used for several months now. Creating an automation in the app is a breeze with plenty of triggers and conditions to choose from, but for this combo, when I lock and close the door to leave the house, the blinds and curtains will now automatically also shut as well. Win-win. And sure, I could have bought dedicated motorized blinds to begin with, but turns out no one ever teaches you how expensive blinds are. Thankfully, SwitchBot is a fraction of the cost, and I'm not limited to the styles available for motorized blinds only. So while there's no hope for you, if you're interested in upgrading your existing dumb tech though to become smart, links and details down below. Moving on to the living room, even with its large windows, it doesn't face the sun, so it can get quite gloomy. However, it's where we spend most of our time, so let's make it a little more fun. Starting with our coffee table light, which, if you know, you know. Appropriately named the Light Soy from Heliograf. I've paired it with their $30 sleek and heavy metal black base, simply because black out everything. The light itself offers 4 levels of brightness, and while this isn't going to replace any ceiling lights or win the award for being the brightest kid in class, even during the day you can see that it holds its own weight. The big sell is that it's made of recycled ocean plastic, so you will feel better about buying this, and it uses touch controls along with being battery powered, so you can double it as a nightlight and take it with you. In front of that is our TV wall, which 85 inches, come on, who do we think we are here? But like the commercial says, you'll always wish that you bought the bigger one, and so I did. And to pair with it, we also had to find the largest decor to match. That also happens to be a light too. This was my girlfriend's pick. As a huge Miffy fan, it was sort of a no-brainer. She doesn't really even care that it lights up because honestly, the clean white finish looks wicked alone too. However, it does make one heck of a nightlight as well, especially considering it's actually made for kids, but don't judge us. For some serious lighting options though that don't look like a child's toy, we're filling in this gap with a Govee corner floor lamp. Yeah, a lamp specifically made for corners, because unlike other lamps that shine onto you or into the ceiling, this points directly into the corner that you used to stare at when you got in trouble as a kid. Except this is actually useful. The controller lets you set the color, temperature, and dimming options too, but as an added bonus, the music mode is what really sets the mood, as it reacts accordingly to how lit the party is. The heavy base keeps it in place, and with a rubber cover and metal frame, not only does it look sleek and something you'd want to show off to guests, it doesn't get hot either, except at night, because then it's pretty fire. Circling back to the cuteness overload, if you're familiar with Smoko, then you know that sticking a cute face onto anything round basically makes any Asian melt, but quadruple the size, and you're not keeping this in stock for very long. That being said, it's a super simple light made of a plastic shell with a single plug that can be charged through a USB adapter. The controller is pretty generic as well, but offers you the full spectrum of colors and a few effects too. Honestly though, even if you didn't turn this on, it's still a banger. With its plastic shell, the textured and stiff finish does make it feel premium, except the tape on styrofoam face does cheapen it just a little, but I still love it like it's my own. Plus, at night, wha-bam! Paired with the other lighting, it's got yin and yang vibes, maybe even a little bit of Avatar feels, but if you know anything larger, please let me know down below, and we might just do an episode 2 of this home accessory series. Moving on to the most important room of the house, the main bedroom, aka Netflix and chill room twice a month, aka the love shack, aka where my dog sits on my face to wake me up in the morning, and as comfy as that is, the room, not my dog's butt, there's one main problem. The light switch is literally a mile away when we're in bed, and if you've ever been tired before, you know the intrusive thoughts of debating if you should just leave them on all night instead of actually getting up. That's where this very expensive solution comes in, but quite literally the creme de la creme industry standard for smart lighting. From Lutron, their Caseta light switches make your lights smart, not by swapping the bulbs, but by swapping the switch itself, which for someone who's never DIY'd anything more than an iPhone case, shout out to the OGs who remember that one, this was pretty simple, as long as you remember to actually turn off the power first. Even with our slight hiccup in that the main room light wasn't actually dimmable, so it didn't work with these switches, but swapping everything back was so easy that even with that problem, this took less than 30 minutes to complete. And when done, voila! You now have a regular light switch that you're normally used to, but paired with their wireless remote, and you can have a second switch lying around anywhere else in the room. So you can continue being lazy for a slight little fee. This kit includes everything you need to get up and running as well, including the smart hub that isn't necessary for everything to work, but allows your switches to connect online and to your phone too, which means even if you don't remember where you left this tiny remote, you can simply ask Siri to do it for you too, which basically means you can live out your Tony Stark Jarvis assistant dreams, or if you were born in the late 1900s, finally afford your own clapper. Look, I get it. It's a lot of lights, but this next one is for those who, well, are also really lazy, or just can't live without having something playing on a TV in the background of whatever else you're doing. So in comes the LG Stand By Me rolling wireless smart TV. Being able to take it with you wherever you go around the house is really all you're paying for, which I happily did, simply for this. Saying you watch TV in the washroom is one of the highest flexes you can make, and while mounted onto a single pole, you've still got quite a bit of customization in viewing angles, going from high to low, but also a full range side to side thanks to the ball head mounts. Ideal for any seated position, but also keeping it nearby because, yes, it is also a giant touchscreen too. So even if you lose the remote, you'll always have a way to control it with a few simple swipes. Perfect too, as you can go portrait mode and watch your favorite dance trends or NPC live streams on what feels like a giant phone screen. Then, since you've basically spent all your money on a floating TV, you'll probably have to cook at home. Or you can use it to remember my secret recipe. You're welcome. If you can't decide what to watch, now you can watch both. And even with the lack of ports around back, the single HDMI is good enough to have a second monitor with you wherever you want to work. Thanks to the battery being rated for about 3 hours, which is more than enough to pretend like you actually did something useful today. As for the monitor itself, it's only 1080p, so you definitely aren't buying the best image quality. However, its beige tone design combined with the cloth-like texture and gold accents makes this a piece of tech that blends in naturally in the room without it looking like you're a school teacher rolling in a TV for movie time. It's not the greatest at viewing angles, and the controller feels pretty cheap but does offer the essential functions. However, what really sold me was this. It's got AirPlay built in, so you can mirror your iPhone screen, and when paired with the phone clip, this can double as a giant FaceTime screen, or also a great selfie monitor too. What does feel really good is how heavy the base is, giving you a sense of confidence that this isn't going to tip over no matter how hard you shake it. But the double-edged sword is that means whatever floor you set it up on is the floor it's staying on, because even myself, who can lift really, really, really heavy, struggled to move this up and down the stairs. And I get it. For the price of this tiny screen, you could have gotten a much, much larger one instead. But being able to roll your TV around freely, having it in the kitchen while you eat, and then straight to the living room after your food coma, for the 0.23% of you that get it, there's just nothing better on the market that solves your problem of being super lazy.
I'm very curious. Comment pineapple down below if you want to see an episode 2 of this home accessory series. Or just let me know if we should stay in our lane and stick to EDC and tech. But that's it. I rest my guard dog. Confused. Comment if you remember his name.